Hey there legends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be telling you my favourite 5 Ipswich Town players. Hello there legends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going through my favourite 5 Ipswich Town players, which is a bit random. Many of you will know I am a Liverpool fan, but I am from Ipswich, that's my hometown. So today I'm going to be going through my favourite 5 players that have played for Ipswich. Bit random, but I thought you guys would be interested in the people that I used to watch, because although I'm a Liverpool fan, I lived in Ipswich, I used to go watch Ipswich regularly as much as possible. Used to go watch them a lot. Home, did go to quite a few away games as well, so I've seen quite a lot of Ipswich games. And as well, today would have been my granddad's birthday. It is his first birthday since he died, so that's the day I'm filming this, not the day I upload this. But I just wanted to do something not to remember him by, but I just wanted to film something he would have enjoyed. He was Suffolk born and bred. He would have loved to hear probably my favourite 5 players. He would have disputed them. He would have talked about some greats from years ago like John Walk and Mick Mills. He would have talked about legends like that I obviously didn't get to see because I'm way too young. But yeah, I thought he'd enjoy this. So here is my top 5 favourite Ipswich Town players. In at number 5, this one's not just based on the pitch stuff, okay? This one's someone that a lot of people don't like as well. It is Kieran Dyer. Now, fun little fact, Kieran Dyer went to the same high school as me when I was a kid. Although he was way older and he was already playing football by then, he went to the same high school as I did. In like one of the school hallways near the main school hall, they had his England shirt hanging up, signed, which I always remember seeing and sort of walking past and be like, oh, England International went here. You know what I mean? It was a big thing. He played for Ipswich for a few years before moving on to Newcastle and making hundreds of appearances. I think it was nearly 200 appearances for Newcastle. For Ipswich, he made 95 appearances, scoring 9 goals. He had a couple of spells. He did have a short loan spell where he played just like 5 games. He was injured all the time. I think Kieran Dyer was a really good player. I got to meet him a few times because of like my school link and because he grew up in the area that I was born in. So yeah, I met him a few times and enjoyed him, and even kicked the ball about with him a little bit, and it was incredible seeing someone that played at that level, someone that played at like England international level, like close up, was incredible. So that was, for me, and that's one of the reasons he's on this list, is because of those experiences. He was also known as a utility man because he could play, you know, you playing full back, left back, right mid, left mid, centre mid, defensive mid, attacking mid. You could basically stick him anywhere and he'd do a job, but like similar to like a sort of James Milner, but I don't think that calling him a utility man really does him credit. So yeah, number 5 on my list is Kieran Dyer. Number 4, now this one is going to shock a lot of people. If you're not an Ipswich fan, you might not even know who this is. If you're a Leeds fan, you might. It is Richard Naylor. Now, yes, it's random, Richard Naylor. He was always one of my favourite players. Fun fact about him is when he started out in 1996, he used to play as a striker. And then, I think it was 2001, 2002, Joe Royal said, look, you're not good enough as a striker, we're going to stick you at centre-half. And that's where he played until he retired in like 2012. He played for Ipswich till about 2009, off the top of my head, about 2009. He made a host of appearances, 324, scoring 38 goals. And bear in mind, there was only like 4 or 5 years as a striker, the rest of that was at centre-half. Decent goal return. He was always good for a header. He was combative. He worked hard. He used to fight, and I think that's why fans always liked him, because he always would fight. He'd stick a tackle in. He'd stick an elbow in. He would fight for the cause. So I loved watching someone that was willing to just battle. You know, it's not anyone. And I like it now with footballers. You know, lots of my favourite footballers are people that are willing to fight for their badge. Number 3 is someone who's probably more famous for his celebration than his performances. Shefki Kuchi. Now, he had this fantastic dive and celebration. There'll be a picture here for you guys to look at. He was a fantastic player for Ipswich Town. He played 94 games, scoring 34 goals. He did have a short, that was split into 2 spells as well. Well, he had a loan spell, I think, and they signed him straight away. Then he went away for a few years and he came back for I think like 10, 15 games, like a short bit of a season. But he always scored. He also was a Finnish international, playing 62 games, scoring 6 goals, playing with Sami Hupia for Finland. That's levels. Sami Hupia. Can you imagine playing football with Sami Hupia? Which obviously for an Ipswich Town player that's levels. That is absolute levels. So he was always a fan favourite. That celebration, you know, that Shefty dive. People loved it. I loved it. So that's why he's coming at number 3 on the list, because I've always had a thing for goal scorers. It's just, I think everybody does, especially when you're a kid. I think the people that score the goals are the ones that you watch and enjoy. That's what I think anyway. Number 2 is also an Ipswich Town manager. It is Jim Magilton. No, he was a great player. He was sort of like a box-to-box midfielder, but he could sit deep, he could play further up. I believe he played wide when needed as well. He was just a talented midfielder. Reminds me of like a young Roy Keane. I think that's obviously a big comparison to make, but he's got that sort of Irish, sort of box-to-box grit, determination. He works hard. He was quality as well. He did make a lot of appearances for Northern Ireland. He played 54 games for Northern Ireland, scoring 5 goals, I think, as well. So that's not a bad return for a centre midfielder. But yeah, he was a fantastic player. He was a good Ipswich manager. Although it was his first management job, and he came into it as a player manager. I think he did quite a good job, especially when you look at what people did after him. But he was a fan favourite. He was a captain at times. He was a proper player. He was someone that absolutely loved the club. He was someone that wanted to put that shirt on, and he was someone that wanted to represent that club. So Jim Magilton had to be on this list, and for me, because of how well he always reacted to the fans, he's in at number 2. Another little thing as well, see, with me being a Liverpool fan, Jim Magilton came through Liverpool's academy. Although he did not play first team games for Liverpool, there's loads of pictures of him in Liverpool kits and stuff, playing for like the youth team and the reserves, but he never played a proper game for Liverpool. I believe he might have played a friendly. I'm not certain on that, so don't quote me. But yeah, that link as well, just when I was a kid, it made me like him more, because I was a Liverpool fan who watched Ipswich. I wasn't an Ipswich fan, if that makes sense. I don't get me wrong, I want Ipswich to do well even now, but I'm a Liverpool fan first. Number 1 is the player that scored the best goal I've ever seen. It was the best goal I've ever seen. It was a back heel from around the penalty spot. It was like a left foot and a right foot back heel. It was ridiculous. Google it afterwards. I don't know if it's that easy to find on like YouTube, because videos weren't as common years ago, but it's the best goal I've ever seen. In 1999, this player played at the Youth World Championships for Spain. Right? Now, I know that sounds super impressive. You're thinking, who for Ipswich was that good to be playing for Spain? You got to think that 1999 youth team, a lot of them went on to be like 2008 and 2010 like World Cup and Euro winners. You know, he was playing with Carlos Marchena, Xavi of Barcelona, Iker Casillas of Real Madrid. Probably the 2 of the biggest Spanish legends of all time in that team. That shows you the pedigree of this guy and the pedigree of his sort of football and education in his younger years. It is, of course, Pablo Cunago. He was a player I absolutely loved. Obviously, again, he was a striker. He had 2 spells at Ipswich Town. He scored a lot of goals in both of them. His overall record for Ipswich Town was 224 appearances, 54 goals. He never got fully capped for Spain, which I think is a shame. Although, when you think about the players at the time, Torres, Villa, Raul, Morientes, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise that he didn't make it to that level, but it's sad in a way, because he was a player that I loved. He had such flair. And going back to the back heel goal, it was against Charlton. It was an away game. It's the best goal I've ever seen in person. You know, like literally, the ball comes across to him. He's got his back to goal. He's got no support around him. He's got defenders around him, and he takes a touch of his left foot, and then he switches on to his right foot, and he just flicks it backward, and it's right in the bottom corner. The goalkeeper's got no chance. No one's expecting him to pull it out, and he used to pull out a lot of these little turns and flicks and tricks, and he was a special player. He was someone that I think could have played at a higher level. Now, Spain at national, no. Could he have played for like a decent Premier League team and done a decent job? I really think he could have, and I don't know why he never progressed like that. I think it is a shame. I think he did have a couple of brief spells in the Premier League. I think one of those was with Ipswich, one of those was with like Crystal Palace. I know he played for Crystal Palace at one point. I'm not sure if they were in the Premier League at that point. I love Pablo Canyago. He used to score. He's someone as well. When I was a kid, they used to do these things at Ipswich Town where you could go for like a soccer school for a few days, and my favourite memory from those soccer schools as a kid was we played like a 7-a-side, and one Ipswich player joined both sides. One team got Fabian Wilners, I think. My team got Pablo Canyago, and I played up front with Pablo Canyago for like 15 minutes. For me, that was one of my best football memories, to play with my favourite town player, my favourite town striker, to play up front with him. It was very brief, and it wasn't a special game, it wasn't anything like that. But for me, that is a special memory that I will always remember. And he was so friendly to everyone, he was so nice. And yeah, I just got to say, absolute legend, Pablo Canyago. He was always great with the fans. He did a lot of sort of charity bits and pieces in the club, and he's still fondly remembered by every Ipswich fan of that sort of generation. And it's just a shame he didn't get, for me, as much as he deserved. I feel like he was a better player than he ever achieved, but he was quality. He had something about him. He always had something about him, that little sort of flair. And I think it was similar for me. Like, one thing I used to think is he was like he reminded me of David Villa in how he played. Like, he wasn't crazily rapid. He had a bit of pace, but he wasn't crazily rapid. He wasn't ridiculous sort of Ronaldinho skills, but it was effective little one-touch, two-touch stuff that just made you play quick. You know what I mean? And at a team like Ipswich Town, that's not something you got to see off them. But Pablo Canyago, he wanted to play one-touch, two-touch a lot of the time. So yeah, honestly, I loved him. He was my absolute favourite Ipswich Town player. Thank you for joining me on this one today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to hear my favourite players from other teams, do let me know. I've done my favourite 10 Liverpool players, I think I did. I'll link that in the description, but I am thinking about doing some others, maybe my favourite 5 England players. I did think about doing nationalities, because then we could do like England, Brazil, Holland, France. We'll probably do some international teams. If you guys enjoy this series, do let me know. If you have ideas for Fave 5s, let us know. I've done a Fave 5 Netflix at this point. I used to do top 10s, but those videos were a little bit too long, so we've switched it to Fave 5s, just to make things quicker for you guys, and to talk about the important ones in a bit more depth, because with a 10, I was conscious of how much I was talking, whereas with a 5, I feel like I can cover, especially the higher ones in the 5, in a lot of depth, instead of rushing through them like I used to in a 10. So yeah, if you want to see my Fave 5 anything, do let me know, either in the comments or on my social media, which is @LinkGooding. If you like football as well, I do stream FIFA quite regularly on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/LinkGooding. Haven't done any vlogs in Ipswich yet. I do plan to do that next time I head over to Ipswich. I'll probably start doing some Ipswich-based vlogs. So if you are watching this from Ipswich and you want to see like your hometown on YouTube, hit the sub button. Thank you for being here. I've been Link. You've been my legends. Who are we? Blue Army! Thanks so much for watching today, guys. If you've enjoyed that, you can click up here and you can watch another video of mine. Or if you really love it, if you really love it, or even if you just like it a little bit, go down here and subscribe to the channel. It means you'll never ever miss what is coming up real soon.